When we talk about startups, the conversation often drifts toward failure rates, the staggering risks, and the graveyard of ideas that never made it past the early stages. But while failures teach us caution, successes give us blueprints. They remind us that extraordinary companies are built not through luck alone, but through patterns, principles, and persistence that can be studied, understood, and adapted. Today, we're going to explore three remarkable journeys: Airbnb, Stripe, and Notion. Each of these companies started small, faced rejection, overcame near death experiences, and ultimately reshaped their industries. Their stories are not fairy tales, they are case studies in execution, resilience, and the ability to align vision with user needs. By studying them, we extract lessons that are not only inspiring, but also actionable. Success leaves clues, and our task is to follow them. There are four reasons why studying success stories matters deeply for entrepreneurs. The first is that success leaves repeatable patterns. When multiple companies achieve scale in different industries yet follow similar paths, those paths become roadmaps. Smart founders recognize these patterns and apply them in their own contexts. The second reason is about overcoming struggles. Success stories don't skip over the dark chapters, they illuminate them. They show exactly how startups navigated rejection, funding droughts, and product market fit struggles. Seeing how others overcame obstacles makes it easier to face your own. The third reason is about execution insights. Ideas are everywhere, but execution is everything. Case studies highlight the execution details: timing, iteration, trust building, and scaling strategies that make the difference between survival and dominance. The fourth reason is practical inspiration. Stories like Airbnb, Stripe, and Notion don't just motivate, they provide tactical lessons you can apply tomorrow. They remind us that resilience, creativity, and user obsession are not optional. They're the essence of startup success. Success stories are not just for inspiration, they are playbooks. Airbnb's story begins with scrappiness. During a design conference in San Francisco, when hotels were fully booked, the founders rented out air mattresses in their apartment. This was their MVP: minimal, resource light, but powerful enough to validate demand. They proved people would pay for alternatives when traditional options failed. But their journey was anything but smooth. The company faced constant rejection. They pitched to dozens of investors who couldn't see the vision. Most dismissed it as too weird, too risky, or too niche. Yet the founders persisted. They kept refining, kept hustling, even selling novelty cereal boxes, Obama O's, and Cap'n McCain's to stay afloat. Persistence through rejection became their superpower. Airbnb then solved its scaling challenge by building trust systems. People are wary of staying in strangers' homes. Airbnb's genius was creating mechanisms: professional photography to showcase listings, detailed reviews to build credibility, and host verification programs to ensure safety. These systems transformed a fragile concept into a trusted global platform. The key lesson from Airbnb is clear: solve urgent pain points and design trust systems that scale. Startups succeed when they combine scrappiness with systems that eliminate friction and build confidence. Stripe began with a profound insight: online payments were broken. Developers struggled with clunky APIs, endless paperwork, and frustrating integrations. It was a massive pain point, and nobody was solving it elegantly. The Collison brothers created an elegant solution: a simple API that allowed developers to accept payments with just 7 lines of code. This radical simplicity stood in stark contrast to competitors who offered bloated, outdated systems. Stripe won by building developer love. Developers are often overlooked in favor of flashy sales teams or enterprise buyers, but Stripe understood their importance. By delighting developers, they created evangelists who spread the product virally. Growth came not from expensive sales teams, but from grassroots advocacy. The key lesson from Stripe is that you win by becoming default infrastructure. When your product is simple, reliable, and beloved, you don't just win customers. You become the invisible backbone of industries. Stripe didn't just make payments easier, it redefined the standard for how online infrastructure should work. For founders, Stripe proves that simplicity and user centricity are not just design choices, they're growth strategies. Notion's journey is a lesson in persistence through failure. It faced multiple pivots and false starts as the team searched for product market fit in an already crowded productivity space. Early attempts flopped, but instead of quitting, they doubled down on exploration and refinement. Their breakthrough came when they focused on flexibility. Unlike rigid productivity tools, Notion offered a platform that could be molded by users. Notes, documents, wikis, databases, all in one. The genius was in balancing power with simplicity. New users could start easily, while power users could build complex systems. But the real rocket fuel came from building a community engine. Templates, ambassadors, and user generated content showed what was possible. Instead of marketing pushing the product, users pulled others in by showing how they had customized it. The community didn't just use Notion, they built with it, taught with it, and evangelized it. The key lesson from Notion is to lean into community and product love. When users become creators, evangelists, and growth drivers, scaling becomes self sustaining. Notion turned its users into its marketing team, and the result was explosive organic growth. For founders, Notion demonstrates the compounding power of communities built on authentic product love. When you compare Airbnb, Stripe, and Notion, common threads emerge. The first is solve real pain points. Airbnb solved the pain of limited accommodations. Stripe solved the pain of broken payments, and Notion solved the pain of inflexible productivity tools. All three obsessed over genuine problems users face daily. The second is design for delight. Airbnb created trust systems that made staying with strangers feel safe and even exciting. Stripe reduced payment integration from weeks of frustration to minutes of joy. Notion turned productivity into creativity by empowering users to shape their own workflows. The third is leverage unique engines of growth. Airbnb leveraged trust, Stripe leveraged developer love, Notion leveraged community. Each built not only products, but ecosystems that compounded value over time. The lesson is simple. Startups succeed when they obsess over problems, create experiences people love, and build growth engines that scale organically. Success leaves clues, and these three stories give us some of the clearest ones. Case studies of successful startups remind us that greatness is not accidental. Airbnb, Stripe, and Notion each began with scrappy, uncertain beginnings. They faced rejection, false starts, and countless obstacles. But by obsessing over user problems, simplifying painful experiences, and building trust, love, or community, they transformed into category defining companies. For founders, the lessons are actionable. Scrappiness is not weakness, it's proof of resilience. Persistence to rejection isn't optional, it's the price of success. Designing systems for trust, simplicity, or community isn't fluff, it's strategy. The final takeaway is this: success may look glamorous in hindsight, but in reality, it is built through deliberate choices, resilience under pressure, and a relentless focus on users. Study success not to idolize it, but to extract its patterns. Then apply those patterns to your own venture. In doing so, you tilt the odds of building something extraordinary.